Professor Milk, oh. Hello class. This video is sponsored by Readable.com. While I haven't done so much as turned a single page since I flunked out of middle school, I, insert your favorite YouTuber here, would like to mask my gluttony for cold hard cash through the powerful and obvious benefits of reading. I don't read, and you probably won't either. Readable.com, an Amazonian company. Now before we get into this Syndra guide here, I have something I would like to briefly talk about. Girls. A select few of my dedicated viewers think I'm misogynistic, when in fact, 85% of my viewers are female, according to my analytics. I've been told it's due to my irresistible sexual appeal, but we'll let the fair sex decide. So, 500 million people play League of Legends. That's 2 times the amount of people that play League, plus all the people that play Overwatch if you divide the League population in half and subtract all the Overwatch players. You might be wondering, Milk, how can there be 500 million League players when there's only 7 million people on Earth? And to that I suggest pouring yourself a tall glass of the highest grade Clorox brand bleach you can find. Now, of that number of League players, 10% of those players are girls. And not surprisingly, 100% of those girls stream on Twitch, creating a 1-to-1 ratio. Out of the girls that stream League, shockingly, only 60% of them think I'm funny, while 30% think I'm hilarious, and the remainder just use my videos as some sort of pseudo ASMR audio stimulation experience. The ranked breakdown of these girls is as follows. 60% of them were White Knight boosted to Diamond or Platinum by guys that think they matter. 25% of them played Janet till Diamond 5, and the final 30% just play for fun. LOL. Girl Gamer champ pools consist of Lux, Ahri, and Janna. Note that these 3 aren't the most played champions, these are the only champions that were played. No other results came in. With all this information in mind, I've developed this build and strategy to not only make it easier for male gamers to destroy their foes, I've also made it suitable for girl gamers, especially ones that stream. Be sure to stay tuned as we'll have some live girl gamer action for you to enjoy. Thank you for joining me in Syndra, Simplified Carrying. I'm Professor Milk, let's get started. Syndra causes growths of trepidation among the League of Legends populace because, according to this arbitrary purple bar, she's extremely difficult to play. But not too hard because Riot recently changed that bar to make it a little bit shorter, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Look, you can't just Lance Armstrong your way through life. Yes, single balling it with Orianna can be easier, but you'll never expand as a player. Syndra is harder to play. But the thing is, if you can push balls around, or if you're a girl gamer who's used to putting balls in a comfy little jar, as most girl streamers do, you too can play Syndra. Now, let's go over her abilities to clear up any confusion. Q. Dark Sphere. This spell does AoE damage about the size of Karthus' Defile with a 1-to-1 AP ratio. This spell creates a sphere that will last up to 18 seconds. W. Force of Will. This is the spell most adored by the suppler of sexes as it lets them control more aspects of the rift than most other champions would allow. For male gamers, the use of this spell is to pick up either a sphere, minion, or monster and throw it dealing AoE magic damage, creating a slow for 1.5 seconds, or 2.5 seconds if their flash is on cooldown. For girl gamers, this ability is used to grab cannon minions from your AD carry, jungle camps from your jungler, and to throw an enemy Tibbers at your teammates if she so happens to have missed. E. Scatter the Weak. This is the trickiest of Syndra's 7 abilities, if you count Void Staff's active. This spell knocks all targets, including spheres, away from you, dealing magic damage. If any of the spheres you knock away make contact with champions, they will be stunned for 1.5 seconds, or 3 seconds if their flash is on cooldown. You can line up your shot by placing it with your Q or moving it into position with W. Now, I would like all girl gamers to close their eyes and cover their ears, as I'm going to discuss some advanced information that might scare you, I'm afraid. Great. Alright gentlemen, now that the old ball and chain is off having a, I'm assuming, pillow fight, I'd like to show you something that little to no people understand about Syndra. The first thing to note is that the closer you are to the sphere, the farther it travels when you use your E. With that being said, carefully watch how this is done. Because if you shart your chinos while trying to perform this play, that's your Plat 3 Reddit montage going down the fucking shitter. So, I use my E and then I flash to make it instantaneous, not the other way around. You basically use your flash to cancel the E animation. Lastly, Scatter the Weak can be used similarly to Insect's maneuver on Lee Sin. The sequence for the Syndra, as it's now called, works like this. After getting pretty close to your target, Q behind them, E behind yourself, and then immediately flash behind the enemy. This will cause them to not only get shot in the direction you want them to go, it will also stun them. Experiment with this yourself, as some of the idiosyncrasies and quirks are beyond the explanation of this video, unfortunately. Okay girls, we are all done. You can close your mouths. R. Unleashed power. Aside from Syndra's well-rounded Rule 34able assets, this is where the champion's strengths really start to grow and flex, and will be the focus of our build. Upon pressing R, Syndra fires 3 balls floating around her at her target, dealing magic damage with each ball. If any spheres are on the ground around her, those will also be fired. The maximum number of spheres that can be fired is 7, but in a real game this is a bit unrealistic, so you should settle for 8 when possible. Passive. Transcendent. When any of your spells reach its max level, Transcendent modifies them slightly. Rank 5 Q makes the sphere last 2 seconds longer and doubles the damage to champions. W is able to pick up 2 nearby spheres, and when thrown triples the damage and slow. E gets a 200% wider cone which completely surrounds you, and R has 75 increased range. Let's briefly talk about combos. I don't want to rot your already fragile brain with millions of combos you can do with Syndra. I just want to give you 2 go-to combos that you can always rely on. The first one is without your ult. This is the full combo you'll perform in lane when you want to get the most damage off. Start by Qing in front of or on top of your target, stun them with E, grab the sphere and slow them with it. Q again. Useful in lane, it's classic. The second one with your ult is the same as the first one, but believe it or not, you ult at the end. Alright, let's get on to the builds. We have the classic, Packing Heat, Auto Weaver, Edgy, and the Milk build. If you've watched any of my other guides, you will quickly have realized that this unique Professor Milk style has turned into a formula of comedy that can be pushed out of a YouTube conveyor belt by any monkey that has enough brain capacity to wield a computer mouse. But you'll also have noticed that this is the part where we talk to some professional players so they can review my build and hopefully get some zany view-increasing reactions. But since this guide is mostly for girls, I decided to do away with the wise words from the pros for the time being and change it out for something that fits a bit better. Let's try Girls Say the Darndest Things. Google that if you have to, it's an amazing reference. Bill Cosby, it's all there. On to our first and only guest. Instead of just an interview, I decided to get my well-endowed volunteer to playtest this build without giving her too much information, as discovery is the best form of learning. Our guest operates an educationally based stream akin to Nightblue 3 or Scarred for Life. She originally got famous from Riot using her to model Katarina, and her Twitch presence grew like 2 perfectly symmetrical watermelons from there. Please welcome a girl I'd be more than happy to create some content with, Lil Chipmunk. Let's get into it. To absolutely no one's surprise, her games didn't go very well. Her laning phase was her weakest point, especially against Fizz. It may be hard to watch, but the screaming definitely makes it easier. She was also having trouble landing her stuns. Slowly, she started learning how to layer her spells to secure kills. But she couldn't really grasp when to use her ult, instead of, maybe just an auto attack. Then I had a classic Professor Milk brilliant idea that would drastically improve her laning phase, so she could just work on snowballing. Needless to say, she started winning a lot more games. Let's gander at some of her encounters. Look at the cleanse, look at the moves. Faker, what was that? This confidence improved her stuns and roams, and even led her to getting her very first solo kill. Look guys, even girl gamers can do this build and win. And after 25 games played with my build, she gave us her final review.
You know why your builds don't work? Let me tell you why it works for some people and why it doesn't work for other people. It works for lower elo, because your builds are retarded. Well, some people, not even all people. And it works for people that are already good at the champ that they're playing. I don't know how to say this nicely. Your builds suck. Do you know what I mean? So your builds are... The reason why it's working for you is because you're mechanically good with the champ that you're playing. So like Fizz, what you're building is just retarded. This build is just stupid. But because you're alright with the champ, like mechanically, you don't look as bad playing him with your shit ass build. Don't fucking build this. Telling you guys right now, this Syndra build is shit.
Well then, at least we and a large portion of her viewers don't have to deal with this, as most of us watch her stream muted. That was Girls Say the Darndest Things. Before we unearth the secrets of this build, let's cover the oh-so-necessary necessities. Masteries. We'll be running 12-18 with Thunderlords. Runes. You'll want to invest in Hybrid Pen Reds and Quins, Armor Yellows, and 6 CDR per level and 3 AP per level Blues. Summoners aren't anything too fancy, and you'll be training your abilities as such. Besides me being the realist, first things first, I'd like to show you guys how Syndra ult really works. Manamune Syndra isn't a new idea, but I did make leaps and bounds towards perfection. Once Manamune transforms into Muramana, each one of your spheres, when ulting, does bonus physical damage equal to 6% of your current mana, consuming 3% on use due to the shock passive. I hired my pudgy, perky-breasted Mexican neighbor Juan Garcia Ramirez to help me with a visual aid. With a traditional full 700 AP build, a 6-sphere rank 3 ultimate would add up the damage per sphere as such: 320, 640, 960, 1280, 1600, and 1920 total damage, all magic. But with my build, you reach AP levels of up to 850 because of the mana scaling, and you'll tack on physical damage with each sphere from the shock passive on Muramana, giving 595, 1183, 1764, 2339, 2906, and finally 3,467 total damage, 2,100 damage being magic, and 1,367 physical, which is why all the hybrid pen from your runes and masteries is so important. That's an 81% increase in damage when compared to a full damage AP build. Now I don't know if you guys slept through your English class, but juxtaposition, this is it. Now I know this build is very expensive and slow scaling, but Riot actually did something pretty genius. They directly tied the League of Legends in-game currency with the British pound. So instead of this build breaking the bank, you only have to shell out 3 bags of green tea. But enough theory. Your core build is tier, rod, CDR boots. I can't stress enough that you will not lose any strength and will still have huge kill pressure in lane. Around 20 minutes is your biggest power spike because your rod and Manamune will get fully stacked at roughly the same time. From there, work on your Archangels. It won't start stacking the second tier until the first one reaches Muramana. Once they are both completed, they scale off of each other, giving that elusive damage. The Rabadons and Void Staff are just there to top off the scaling. Since your spheres with Muramana use % current mana, you need to be full mana to get the most damage. This is the reason we have Morellonomicon to finish the build, as it offers a mana reset. Along with giving 400 mana and 100 AP, it gives 20% max mana on kills and assists, which works out to an 821 mana reward due to your pool of 4,104 mana. Meaning, when you one-shot someone, as you should with almost 3,500 damage, you'll return to max mana, ready to ult again in 48 seconds. Some additional benefits of this build are that you are Zuna levels of tanky, with your Rod of Ages and Shield from Archangels, so you can have a much more aggressive playstyle. The reason this build is so good for girl gamers is because even though you can be extremely aggressive with it, it also shines bright like a Diamond 5 if you just sit back and AFK farm minions to stack your tiers, which helps girl gamers maintain 100% concentration on the more important things: Twitch chat, and making sure your top isn't hiding anything too important. To top it off, your stream will be a lot more engaged and invested in the game you're playing, because you're not sitting bot lane only putting points in E on Janna, making sandwiches for your friend zone White Knight AD carry. Oh, I almost forgot. Since you have so much mana and Muramana passive, your auto attacks will fuck people up. Like, fuck people up. Weave those autos if you got them. Thanks again for all the support, guys. Be sure to follow me at twitch.tv/professor_milk. Follow me on Snapchat at profmilk because I'll be leaking my nudes, and follow me on Instagram at profmilk because I'll be leaking my nudes. YouTube was a lot of fun. Godspeed.
Way. No way.
Professor Milk. Oh.